Welcome everyone and happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly story of event featuring entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community members making their mark in Iowa. My name is Sierra Ladroma. I'm the project manager for the Iowa Center's Women's Business Center. The Iowa Center's Women's Business Center is funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. You will all receive an email after this event from my colleague, Ben Schultz, thanking you for attending today's session and with information on how to connect to our speaker, as well as a form to complete. Please do us a big favor and take some time to fill this form out. This information allows us to continue providing free educational programming for small business owners in Iowa. Now go ahead and please take some time to locate the chat function on your Zoom screens so you can join the conversation by asking questions or adding comments. Today's story of event is with Andrea Metzler. Andrea is the owner of Terrarium, a houseplant shop in downtown Des Moines. Since opening the doors in May 2017, Andrea has had a blast teaching customers about houseplant care and watching the popularity of houseplants explode while learning how to run a business. She is no longer currently in Bend, Oregon, but was with her husband Kent working on opening a sister shop, Desert Rose Cactus Lounge. Andrea, thank you so much for spending your Friday with us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get into this. Can you please share with us how the Art Terrarium came about, and more so, what's the story behind the shop?
Yeah, definitely. So I moved back. I'm from Des Moines originally. I moved back. I was traveling around for a while, moved back here. I think it was 2014, I think. Yeah. And I moved into the Des Moines building downtown. And I was working remotely for a company, working at using Gravitate co-working as a working space, and I spent a lot of time walking through the skywalks of downtown, and they always made me really depressed. They're just kind of sad and empty, and would walk around the Kaleidoscope Mall a lot, and there's just a lot of empty retail spaces in there. And so I started chatting with some friends of mine, and we started brainstorming this idea for like a skywalk pop-up where we would fill these empty retail spaces with art exhibits and plants. And so we were able to get in touch with, it was owned by EMC at the time. And I don't remember how, but somehow I found whoever was in charge of that space, and we pitched this idea to them, and she was like, "Oh, I'll pass it by the higher ups, and we'll see what they think." And they were like, "Yeah, we're on board," which was really surprising. So they let us take over that whole Kaleidoscope Mall area it was a 2-day pop-up. I think we had like 30 artists, and we assigned each artist, we assigned a few artists per space, and just let them do whatever they wanted. And so they like set up exhibits and like some performing art stuff. And then there was one particular spot that was like actually in one of the Skywalk bridges. Maybe some of you guys have seen it. And it was like a retail space that was in the bridge, and it was all like glass, in all glass walls basically. And so we decided to use that space to be like our little headquarters. And for anybody that didn't want to actually do a display but wanted to sell some art, they could drop off their art to us, and we would set up like a little art shop and just like sell local art. And then we reached out to Harvey's Greenhouse because they're awesome, and they have that amazing cactus greenhouse out there. And we were like, "Do you guys want to just like bring down some plants and we'll sell them?" And they were like, "Yeah," which also was surprising to me. And they like brought down a whole trailer full of cacti and succulents, and we put it all throughout the space. And it was just awesome. And we were like looking around one day, and we're just like, "Man, it's like a terrarium," because it was all just like glass walls. And we're like, "It's like a terrarium that's filled with art. It's an art terrarium."
Oh my God, I love that.
So then we called that space, we were like, "This is the Art Terrarium. It's the Art Terrarium at the Skywalk pop-up." And we did that during Art Week Des Moines, which is a week leading up to the Des Moines Art Festival. Where artists are encouraged to just kind of do different things all around town. So we did it during Art Week Des Moines. Yeah, and it was just awesome. It was fun because we did it on a Friday. So like part of our goal was, there's a lot of employees that walk through there during lunch and before and after work. And so we were like, this is a great space to expose people to art that maybe just come downtown to work and then go back home. So it was really cool to be able to show like local artists off to some of the employees that are downtown all day working. So we did it Friday and Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. So after that, we were looking, it was me and Shyla, who still works here at Terrarium. And so we were like, oh, that was really, really fun. Like, let's find more empty spaces and do more pop-ups. So we were looking for more just like empty spaces and reaching out to different people about letting us do that. And then we were talking to Nicole at Preservation, and she was like, oh, my friend Lindsay owns this salon, and she has this space that used to be, so Lindsay has had her salon, 11 Cherry Salon, here for a while now, 5 or 6 years maybe. And there used to be another company in here. I'm totally blanking on what it was called, but it was like antique furniture and stuff. Okay. And the guy that owned that was gonna close that and move out. And so Lindsay wanted to have somebody else move in. And so we went and talked to Lindsay, and she was like, yeah, like I just, I'm leasing this whole space, but I want to have my salon in the back and have like a cool business in the front. And so we pitched our idea to her, and she was like, that sounds really cool. And the rent was the right price, and it was downtown. And so we just kind of looked at each other, and we were like, should we just like do a real shop instead of a pop-up, like a permanent pop-up? I think is what we kept calling it. And we decided to go for it. So the space was pretty much ready to go. We didn't have to do a lot of build out, which was nice. We just kind of like built some tables ourselves, and it was pretty minimal when we first opened. We had like some potted plants and we had like some gallery walls that we had a bunch of local art everywhere. So it only took us about a month to kind of pull it all together, maybe a month and a half. And then on May 30th, 2007, we opened the doors, and we were like, Art Terrarium permanent pop-up. Here we are, house plants and art. So.
Okay, that is a story. I had no idea about all of that. And I love how the Art Terrarium name came about, because you were experiencing it and feeling it, and that's what you saw. So all of this, was Shyla your friend that you were walking the skywalks with?
Yeah, so me and Shyla, yeah.
And all of that came from just boredom of looking at nothing.
Yeah, we're just like, we need to do something in here. It's too sad.
So did you continue that kaleidoscope event to some sort of degree as the years passed, or was that the first?
Yeah, it was just kind of a one-time thing. I think maybe we had talked to them about doing it again, but that space kind of was in transition, and they were trying to do different stuff with it, and so we never really reached out to them again after they told us no.
Yeah, it's cool that you said it was just like a minimalist kind of looking shop, because I mean, when you walk into the Art Terrarium, you don't need cool like tables and shelves. You just are looking at all the green around you, and you immediately feel so good. So it's your products that is your decoration too, which is really nice. So let's talk about your career path. What was your career path like, and what kind of led you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's kind of been all over the place. I went to school at University of Northern Iowa and studied video production and communication there. I really wanted to work at a production company and do like video work. So after I graduated, I went to Chicago and had some internships there at some production houses in Chicago. And then I got into film stuff. So there were a bunch of films, that shoot in Chicago. And so I got hired as a production assistant, a PA on a film. And that was in 2007, 2008, 2007, which was right around the time that Iowa had like a big boom in the film industry, because we were offering all these tax credits for people that wanted to shoot movies here. And so since I had gotten some experience on films in Chicago, there were film crews now that were coming to Des Moines and looking for people that could work as like locals that had film experience and knew how to work on a film set. So I was put in touch with some of those people, and I ended up getting hired as an assistant prop master on a movie here in Iowa. I think the first one I did here was called South Dakota, I think. And actually, I just learned recently that Tessa Thompson was like one of the actors, and I like didn't put that together until recently. I was like, wait, that was Tessa Thompson? I've worked with her. So that was pretty cool that she blew up after that. But anyway, yeah, so then I would like stay with my parents while I worked on films here. So I did films in Iowa for like a year and a half or so until they put the kibosh on the whole film scene here in Iowa, which is a bummer. And then then all the films just like left. So there was zero film work here in Iowa. And I decided, you know what, it's way too cold here. Like there's no work for me here. I'm going to Austin. And I'd never been to Austin, Texas before, but I had heard that it was cool. And I had one friend that was down there. So went down to Austin with no real plan, no job. Slept on my friend's couch for a couple months and then started working at a cafe. And then I started working at an insurance company. And then I met some people that I moved in with. And then they actually started a company, a little tech company, and it started doing really well. And so they were looking for some people to work with them. And so they hired me. And then that was the company that I ended up working for about 5 years. And just doing like customer service, account management. I ended up doing some like team culture, company culture roles and retreats and stuff like that. So the company was just like 4 of us, and then when I left, it was about 40 people. So I would say that was definitely my first kind of intro to like the startup community and entrepreneurship and kind of learning, how to grow a company. Definitely learned a lot from that, because it was just like a couple kids, like a couple 25-year-olds living together and working together, and then trying to grow it and learning how to hire and make processes and training manuals and just totally learning all that as we went. So
yeah. Okay, I love it. So what happened? Like, what happened and you were like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur now?
Yeah, so that kind of like put a spark in me. And actually, even I don't even remember when I started like really wanting to like do something, but I remember when I went to Austin, I was like, I'm gonna go to Austin. I'm gonna like start working in the restaurant scene because I want to come back to Des Moines and open a 24-hour diner. And like I don't know where that came from, but that was my dream. I was gonna go spend a few years in Austin, learning how the restaurant scene works, and then come back and open a diner. And so like I was working at that one cafe, and I realized pretty quickly, I don't want to. That's the whole thing. I don't want to do that. Restaurant, that's a lot of work, running a restaurant. So then I just kind of got into the other company, and that was fun because we all worked remotely, so I got to spend a lot of time traveling while I was working for that company, just because I could work from anywhere. So I spent some time traveling to Europe and just kind of traveling across the country, and that was how I discovered some plant shops. Actually, I was in Chicago and saw some plant shops there, and went to Portland, and I would walk into these plant shops and just be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, this feels so good. And so I left that company and was working at the botanical garden. And then that's kind of when I was like, you know what, like I love going into these plant shops, and I could see like other like people in Des Moines would really love that too. And so it kind of morphed from, and actually there was a point too where I wanted to open a coffee shop, like a coffee shop bar. So I've had a lot of little ideas here and there. Kind of like got into exploring that idea for a while, and then we just kind of did this pop-up, and that did so well that we were like, let's like try to make this permanent, because I think people will like it, and I think people will like the feel of plants, walking into a shop that has plants, because I know I do.
Yes.
I think that other people would love it too.
I want to share with you that every time I go to the art terrarium by myself or with anyone else, that's the feeling that we get of like, oh my gosh. So congratulations, you did it. That's incredible. Your work history and your career path is wild. I love it. It's a little bit of everything. And I love that you were part of a startup, something from 4 people to 40. Do you have like what are your maybe 1 or 2 lessons that you've learned from them that you continue to use with Art Terrarium?
Well, actually, so just yesterday we did our first kind of retreat with the Art Terrarium team, and one of the things like started the day off with was doing a core values workshop, and that was one thing that I helped lead with the other company too. Is just because we've never really sat down and said like what exactly does Terrarium stand for? Like why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? Like what is helping us frame our decisions and our goals for moving forward? And so that was something, a conversation that we had at the startup that I felt like was a good conversation to have here too. And Shyla had mentioned a couple weeks ago that was something that she really wanted as well. So I was like, okay, it's time to have this conversation. Like we're growing. Right now we have 6 people on board. So we're still small, but I think it's a good time to like start setting those core values so that as we grow, we can pass those on to new employees and make decisions using those. So that was definitely one big thing. And then just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's things that I'm like, yeah, I should have learned this, but I'm still making these mistakes. Just like with hiring people, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to find people that are a good fit at the startup. And I think that's something that we're still working on learning how to do at Terrarium too.
That's something I actually have a question for that is, as your team continues to grow, what do you kind of look for when you're meeting people who apply for jobs? So maybe what values or traits do you look for?
Yeah, definitely number one thing we always tell people is like you have to have a love for houseplants. And you don't have to be an expert in it by any means, but we want people that at least own some houseplants and that are passionate about it and are willing to learn more and willing to pass that knowledge on. So one of our big core values that we came up with yesterday is education. Like we're super passionate about educating our customers and about, educating each other and sharing information with each other. So that's definitely a big one. And then also customer service. That's, we're a retail shop, so that's definitely a big value of ours. So people that, don't just, love plants, but love talking to people and love sharing their knowledge with other people. So, and are friendly and willing to do that. So those are the two big ones.
Yeah, all of my interactions there have been all of that.
Okay.
Do you remember a thought you had to yourself or a conversation with Shyla, and it was more so, we need to hire, it's time?
Oh man, yeah, when was that? I'm trying to think of like who the first person was that we brought. That's weird that I can't even remember. I had like a lot of like kind of people coming in and out, and like we were just kind of paying people cash for a while. Actually, I think the first my friend Abby like helped out a lot. So like for a while it was just friends that we'd be like, oh, can somebody cover the shop? And then like as we wanted to, because we were open when we first started. I think we were open like 7 days a week. And so there was definitely the need for, some life work balance and needing some help covering those hours. And then just, yeah, as we got more people coming in, we realized, we need more than just one person here because people came to know us as like where they can go to ask questions about plants. We were just talking about that the other day, like, nobody's going to go into like a big box store. Like people come in all the time and they're just like, here's my plant. Like help me. And like, where else are people going to do that? And we love that people feel comfortable. Like they know that they can come to us with any questions that they have. And we're like more than happy to answer those questions and help them out. So the more that people realize that we did that, the more people were coming in and asking us questions. And so we just needed like multiple people to be able to answer questions, pot plants and check people out. So.
Yeah, I've literally treated the Terrarium sometimes as like my urgent care for plants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've had some moments with mine and I'm like, help.
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember a few goals that you set for yourself when you first started Terrarium, and did you meet those goals?
You know what? I am always really bad at goals. I feel like this whole time we've just been like, I don't know how this is gonna go. We're just kind of like seeing how it goes, and then every year we're always surprised. Like even this year, I was like, wow, like our December was crazy. I can't believe it. And then every year, like December is, obviously a good month in retail, and you always expect, January, February, it's gonna go back down, but every year our sales have gone up from December in January, and it just shocks me every time. And I still feel like I'm like wow, like we're just gonna keep riding this train. Like, we did set a sales goal for 2020 that we hit, which was awesome because we felt like it was like a really lofty goal.
Yeah.
Like this is like the real extreme goal. Like we're just gonna put that goal there and like just aim for it, even though we're probably not gonna hit it. And then we like blew past it, and it was just crazy. Yeah.
That was for 2020.
Yeah, for 2020.
Do you think the pandemic had something to do with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's crazy. People just really the pandemic made people really want to surround themselves with plants, which is awesome. I'm so glad that we sell something that is bringing people joy and comfort right now. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
What I love about, well, there's so many things about the Artarium that I love, but one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of is the education piece. Like, of course, you talk about the education piece within your team, but also you're educating the community on houseplants. And you have these like Q&As and you go live on Instagram, and it's so cool for people to put in their questions about specific plants. So I love that education is both for internal and customers.
Yeah, that was definitely one of our goals that we set yesterday for this year, is to really like get consistent with that, with the education part of it, and have more. It's been weird. Like we used to do a lot in-person events and workshops and stuff, and so it's been a bummer to not do that, and we haven't really gotten into the virtual stuff. So we're gonna try, hopefully start kind of easing back into doing more workshops and classes and that side of the educational piece again.
Yeah. So when you first started, and maybe if you still feel this way, are there moments when you think to yourself, what am I doing? Like, I can't do this. Or like moments of doubt, but then look at you, you're doing great things.
Yeah, definitely. I remember like we opened May 30th, and I remember that whole month of May I would be like laying in bed thinking like, this is so silly. Like I don't really have a background in retail. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not like a horticulturist. Like I'm not a plant expert. Like are people gonna think I'm like so stupid for trying to open a plant shop when I don't really have experience in plants or retail? So definitely a lot of doubt and like wondering if people were just gonna think we're silly. And our space was super off the beaten path. We weren't like in a high high foot traffic area, so worried that people were I thought a lot about like what other people were gonna think, like, oh, these silly girls opening this shop in this weird part of town. But we did have confidence going into it that like, okay, we know that we're gonna have to be a destination spot. Like we're not going to be able to rely on foot traffic, so we're really going to have to be a spot that people are going to want to come to, and we're going to have to utilize Instagram as best we can to get people there. And it helped that Shyla and I had a good just a good community of people that we knew in town, so we felt good about that. So it's definitely a mix of like, I know people are going to like this, but also like, oh gosh, like what am I doing, for sure.
So what are some messages that you told yourself of when a negative thought comes up, or a thought that is full of doubt? What have you said to kind of bring yourself out of that?
I always say push past the panic, like acknowledge it and then just like move on. And
Yes.
I've learned now that like fear is normal, and I'm feeling that now even with opening the shop in Bend. Like my husband Kent and I are new in Bend. We don't know the community like we know the community here. So definitely feeling those thoughts of like, oh gosh, are people going to be like, who are these people coming in from Iowa opening a shop here? What do they know? So yeah, definitely still feeling those doubts and worried, like, is the shop there going to do well, or is it not? So but like the same thing, like I feel confident we're building a beautiful space there. This time we're actually like working with a designer so that we like are being very thoughtful, and it's been awesome because now that I've had a shop for 3.5 years, I kind of know like, okay, we need this, like we need a potting bar that has this, we need this for the checkout counter. So it's made it a little easier, I think, knowing like exactly what we need for the shop. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to steal push past the panic. I'm going to use that. Okay. Let me see here. As a first-time business owner, what was the biggest challenge you dealt with right out of the gate?
I think let's see. The biggest, I think, just if I'm being honest, working with the team, because it was me, Shyla, and then our other friend Levi, and so just like the dynamics of figuring out like roles for each of us. So that was a little bit of a struggle for the first few months for sure, maybe even like the first year. Um, and just kind of like making defined roles and figuring out who was doing what, and like making sure nobody was getting stressed, which and so it's like definitely there was some tension there, and Levi ended up leaving, which was good ultimately. So yeah, that was definitely a big one, just kind of the team dynamics.
Actually, that's a question I also have for you is what have you found to be the most fulfilling and difficult time in leading a team that's growing?
Yeah, I think that beginning part was really the most difficult time, and we found that hiring has been hard, and like just finding good staff has been hard. I feel really good about the team that we have now, but we've definitely gone through several different like manager roles. We've had some awesome part-time staff that have moved on to other things too, but like the management thing I think has been really hard, and like finding really good managers. But I think we're starting to get into the groove, and like finding people that are really passionate, and then just working on identifying like what skills we need, like where are we lacking, what gaps are there, and trying to hire for those, and trying to fill in those gaps, and where we don't have the skills yet.
Yeah. Okay. So the Art Terrarium and you're huge on supporting small businesses through whether that's just being just a supporter, a shopper, but also through collaborations and partnerships. Can you tell us why that is important for you and your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think collaborating with other businesses was one of the reasons that we really that helped us get through that first year for sure, because we asked a lot of people to come to our terrarium and do pop-ups with us, or do events, do art shows, and then we also did a ton of pop-ups at other places, just like brought a whole car full of plants and sold plants at like market day, and I don't remember where all else, but that kind of collaboration is awesome, because then those that business, those customers learn about you, your customers learn about them, so it's just a win-win for both companies, or for both businesses. So yeah, I definitely, any chance that you have to collaborate with somebody that might have like customers, or that might have totally different customers that might enjoy what you offer, I definitely recommend that.
So what advice do you have for entrepreneurs, for small businesses who want to reach out to other businesses for partnerships? So like what's the best way to approach a business? Because I think that's what kind of trips people up, because it's that nerve.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for that?
Yeah, I think making sure that you're not just like asking a bunch of stuff from them, but like phrasing it in a way where they can see that it would benefit them as well. So you're not just like, can I come into your space and do this? But like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we did this thing together? I know that my customer base, or my Instagram followers, would really love what you guys are doing, and I think that your customers would love what I'm doing, and I think it would be a good collaboration. Framing it like that, rather than just like asking for them to give you space or give you stuff.
Mhm.
I always find it nicer when they're more like telling me why it would be a benefit
Yeah.
for us.
Okay. Let's talk about the sister shop really quick. So Desert Rose Cactus Lounge, and that's going to be in Bend, Oregon. Can you share with us kind of the thought process of, oh, this is what we're gonna do?
Yeah. So Kent and I we've been talking for a while about just moving somewhere else and trying out a different city, and we've been mostly talking about moving somewhere south, because we just hate the cold. um, but my brother lives out in Bend, and Kent's dad recently moved out to Oregon, and so I was visiting my brother in June, and I just was like, man, it feels really nice here. I think I really like this town. So I came home and was like, Kent, I think we should move to Bend. And he was like, okay. He's just kind of on board for whatever. And his dad was super excited about that too. So we decided, yeah, that we are going to try to open another shop in Bend. And then there's a couple other shops. I'm always inspired by other places and other shops. And we'd seen There's a really cool shop in Minneapolis called Shop Mother that used to be all cacti and succulent focused, and now they do a lot of tropicals now too. But they were a big inspiration. We just really liked that vibe. And Bend is in a high desert environment, so we thought that like cacti and succulent would really fit in well there. So that was the big inspiration. And then originally we were going to have it, Kent's background is in beverage sales. He's worked for some beverage distributors and managed a Hy-Vee liquor store for a long time. So we were going to have it be also a bottle shop, so sell beer and wine. But we've had to pivot a little bit from that because we found this amazing space out there that we love and we think it's going to be awesome, but just with the zoning of it, we're not going to be able to get a liquor license there. So we've decided to just focus on the plants, and we'll do tropicals as well. And then probably just do some like unique, I've been Instagram spammed a lot of like cool non-alcoholic beverages. So I'm looking into those and try to offer a unique assortment of non-alcoholic beverages because we do still want it to be a lounge and have a lounge vibe. So we're gonna have like a lounge area, and we want it to be a space where people feel like they can come in and hang out amongst the plants.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream. I want to do that now. Okay, so one of the questions that came in is, what logistical challenges come along with having two locations across the country from each other?
Yeah. Managing staff from Afar was definitely, when I left Des Moines, I had a manager in place, and then as I was driving on the drive out there, she let me know that she was leaving. So that was definitely a panic moment. And thankfully she stayed on long enough to help me train sort of some new managers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely been interesting, is trying to figure out how to manage stuff. But now I'm definitely feeling really good now. I've got some awesome people here running things. So it hasn't been too stressful lately, but yeah, I'm back in town now to just kind of help do some more training and spend some more time with the team and make sure people feel like they know, what's going on and what's expected of them.
Yeah, I really like that you prioritize that. I feel like when companies grow, there's kind of that, I don't know, it's like a stretch from the employer or the owner, so you don't get to know them as well. So the retreat that you all did sounds really beautiful. What advice would you give yourself today if you were just starting out with your business?
I think I would say, like, don't worry so much. You got this. Have confidence. Feel good about what you're doing, because people will love it. And then I think, what else would I say? I think I would tell myself to be a little bit more mindful too about hiring, because like I said, that has been tough, and I think the first inclination is always like, oh, I'm just gonna hire my friends, or oh, this person seems nice, I'm gonna hire them. But try to be more intentional about finding people that have like the skills that you really need, and hiring people that have strengths where your weaknesses are is really good. So Carrie's one of our managers. She's here right now. But she's like so awesome at Instagram.
I know Carrie. I love Carrie.
She's awesome.
Hi.
I feel like Instagram has been how we've pretty much gotten, I feel like, almost all our customers. So like we've been okay at it, but it's always just been like a stressor for myself and Shyla. And I feel like for the first time, it's like, oh my gosh, our Instagram is awesome, and I don't feel stressed about it. Carrie, I think, likes doing it. She gave me a thumbs up. She likes doing it. So it's just been awesome to have that, and then she's been doing all of our inventory ordering and receiving and working in Shopify. And so, yeah, hiring somebody that has the skills that you lack is key.
So let's talk about social media platforms. At the Iowa Center, we work with entrepreneurs at whatever part of their journey that they're at. And a lot of the conversations that we have is around social media and an online presence. There is a lot of hesitancy from entrepreneurs to even have a social media, just because it makes people nervous. And then some people think they don't need it. How important has social media been in our terrarium journey for you?
Yeah, it's been everything, I would say. Like, we have so many customers. Even now, I was I was working in the shop, what's today, Friday? I was working in the shop Wednesday, and people were coming in that were telling us, yeah, I've been following you guys forever on Instagram. It's for first time in though. And I'm like, that's awesome. So yeah, I feel like that's how we built up most of our customer base. Between that and doing events has been really good. But yeah, we haven't done like a ton of advertising. You know, we finally did some spots on IPR in December. But other than that, like it's mostly just been Instagram and people following us on Instagram and then coming in. So that's been huge. We use Facebook to promote events. And then we share like all of our Instagram posts go to Facebook as well. But Instagram is definitely what we love and what I think has helped us build our business. I think it does depend a little bit on what your business is, you know, what platform works best for you. But I definitely think being on social media, I mean, and it's free. Like that's the best part about it. It's free advertising, so it doesn't make sense to not be on there to get the word out about your business and what you're doing.
All right, people, you heard her. Social media is key and it's free. Okay, let me see here. What other questions do we have?
I do get like the anxiety of it because I know like a lot of business owners are really good about putting themselves on their Instagram. Like, you know, like Nicole at Preservation is awesome. She's always on there. And I think that definitely helps. Like if people see the owner on there a lot, but I'm not like that at all. I don't put myself on our Instagram that much. I don't know, because I'm shy and I know a lot of people feel that way. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to put the plants on there. So it depends on your business, you know, if you really need to be on there. I think it does help. But yeah.
I think what I'm hearing you say is use social media in the way that makes you comfortable, but also purposeful for your business.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. All right. So what resources have you used when you were starting the art terrarium to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I mentioned Gravitate earlier. I always talk about Gravitate because that was like so integral. Both into I joined Gravitate like right after I moved back to Des Moines, so it was a great way for me to meet people. But then like all the people that I met like really helped with starting the business. If you're not familiar with Gravitate, it's a co-working space. So basically anybody can have a membership there, and you can pop in for the day, or you can, you know, have a monthly membership, or you can have office space. But it's just a great place to network with people and meet other entrepreneurs and other remote workers. So one of the friends that I met there designed our little logo. And there was another lady that I met there helped us set up our whole LLC. She's a lawyer. So she helped us do our operating agreement and our LLC. And I'm sure there's other people I'm forgetting about that helped us out with stuff at Gravitate, but like I wouldn't have really known where to turn with a lot of that stuff. So it was just awesome to have that network of people that are not everybody there is in the startup community or entrepreneurial community, but there are a lot of people that are passionate about that and can answer a lot of your questions there. And then the Iowa Center too. We took the we took the Dream Builder Express course before we opened, and so like Chuck Smith is our insurance agent. So that was awesome. And yeah, so those, and then I also some networking groups. Like I think I found some of my accountants through like Fem City, I think. So joining some networking groups like that has been good. Some of my friends that I met through the botanical garden helped with plant stuff, which was nice. So I definitely recommend getting out and meeting people, whether that be, you know, popping into a co-working space or going to networking groups and just talking to people about what you're doing. Don't be afraid to share your idea because you think someone's going to steal it, because they won't. Like it takes a lot of effort and passion to get an idea off the ground. So, and the more you talk about what you're doing, the more you're going to find people who can help you, or at least, you know, be future customers.
So that was the next question, is what advice would you give to an entrepreneur who is just starting and they're wanting to grow their community and network, but doing that is scary? There's a lot of nerve to it. What are some action steps that you would advise?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm definitely scared too. I get terrified talking to people, and a lot of times I'll go to a networking event. I just like force myself to go, even though I'm like I'm probably gonna like talk to one person and then get scared and leave. But at least I do it. One of the other things I like about Gravitate is I mean, everything's weird right now, obviously, but they used to do like little lunchtime meetups, and you can be a community member at Gravitate, and it's only $25 a month. I think that's what it used to be. And then you get invited to all their little like networking things, or like lunch happy hours, or like when speakers come. And I feel like that's like an easy way, because it's not like a huge group of people that you're walking into. There's usually, like 10 people or something. And then you can go and just, it's not as much pressure. Or if they have a speaker, if you go and all you do is sit there and listen to the speaker and leave, at least you're like getting out there. And if you do it enough times, I think eventually you'll start seeing the same people, and you'll start getting conversations going. So don't feel bad if you like go to a networking event and then you don't even talk to anybody, because I've done that before. But if you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself to at least get out there, eventually you'll start seeing the same people. That's what I like about Des Moines. You start seeing the same people at stuff, and eventually you'll be like, oh, I've seen you. Oh, yeah, I heard you talk about this, and I'm interested in that, or I'm doing something similar, and you'll eventually get conversations going.
Exactly. That is so Des Moines.
Yeah.
It's one of those things too, where if this was held in person, most likely the people who attend like the same things as you. So it's just a nice way to kind of bring up the conversation of plants or art terrarium, or just, the conversation's already started. All right. Let me see here. Another question that came in: what's the one biggest mistake you see plant owners make over and over again?
Oh man, probably either overwatering or trying to put a plant that needs a lot of light in a really dark corner, or a combination of both. So the biggest thing I always recommend to people is like, make sure you know what your plant is. So that way, even if if you have questions about it later, the internet, is a great resource, or you can always message our terrarium on Instagram, and we answer questions. And just making sure before you walk out of the store that you have a spot to put your plant that's going to give it the light that it needs. And then making sure, a lot of people think like, oh, I can just water this plant, like once a week, or which some plants you can, but some plants, don't like that much water. So yeah, just understanding what you have.
Okay. And then we have a question about inventory. So how do you pick inventory? Is it all based on what you like? Do you change up based on customer feedback?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of both. I'd say like when we first started, I was really into like wanting to have only like handmade, like artisan made. Like I think I bought most of our stuff through like the Etsy wholesale site. I don't think that exists anymore, but we found like some of those things are a little bit of a higher price point, and people were wanting more just like less expensive things. So we started bringing in like our eco forms pots have been super popular, and a friend recommended those to me. And then terracotta. So we like to have a nice price point, so we have those lower cost items, but then we still love having those handmade really unique things. We have an artist right now that's making some amazing Des Moines planters. I'm so excited to show everybody. So yeah, just having a mix of colors and price points is kind of how we choose things.
Okay. I'm also excited for those Des Moines planters. I'll be on the lookout. A question just came in that asked, are there any native Iowa plants that can thrive indoors?
Probably not, because almost all house plants are tropical plants that are native to like jungles. And the reason that is because that native environment is warm all year round, and they get light all year round, whereas most Iowa native plants need that winter dormancy, and that snow. Actually, Carrie might be able to speak more to that. She's got she's got some experience. You used to work for trees forever, and INHF. But yeah, so most native Iowa plants need that time of winter cold and dormancy to be able to come back in the spring and bloom and flourish. So most of the house plants that you're going to see are plants that can survive with that consistent 70-ish degree temperature year round.
Okay, so as we come close to an end, I want to really quickly chat about COVID-19. So what were your initial thoughts literally this time last year?
Yeah. Yeah, we're coming up on 1 year here.
Yes.
I don't really remember. I remember we were doing our plant camp, our weekly plant camp. Every Thursday night we had people. We usually had like around 50 people in the shop every Thursday for our free workshops, free classes that we were doing. And we were like gearing up because our last one was supposed to be like our big like last plant camp giveaway celebration was going to be March 19th. And I don't remember like being like super worried about it like at the beginning of March. And then I remember I went to Chicago March 14th. I remember this all really vividly because my birthday is March 16th. And
Okay.
so I was like in Chicago with some friends. And then like it was to that point where it was like, oh man, like bars in Chicago are shutting down. Like maybe this is serious. And then came home. Monday was my birthday. And then Tuesday we were all in the shop and it was spring break too. So like and a lot of other places I think we're starting to close. And then the shop was like really busy, like a lot of people coming in with kids, and we were looking around and we were just like, this doesn't feel good. Like it doesn't feel safe. I don't think we should, if this many people are gonna be coming in, you know, over spring break, then maybe we should just shut. And so in the middle of the day on March 17th, we decided to just close the shop. And yeah, and we just kind of told people we're closed for now until we like figure out, you know, what's going on and we feel like we can be safe again.
Yeah, it was really this it's been a year. I think this at the end of this week or maybe next week was the year that I started working remotely, and then the Iowa Center also transferred to full virtual
Really?
in like about a week and a half. Yeah. So then do you remember the conversations that you had with the team to figure out how do you keep the shop open and open in a way that it would be different, right? So not literally letting people in, but how do you stay as a business?
Yeah, so I remember the first thought we had was like, okay, if we're gonna be closed, and if nobody, you know, if it gets to the point where like none of the staff can even like be in, like if we're like literally quarantining all in our houses and not leaving our house, like what's gonna happen to the plants in here? So that first week, I think the first thing we did was we did the grab bag sales. So people would just buy a grab bag, we'd pick plants for them and they could take them, and so and people were just doing like curbside pickup. And so we sold we got rid of all of our plants. Like everything in the store was gone. And then we were like, oh man, that grab bag thing was actually pretty cool. And I think that we felt safe, just like, I think it was just me and Shyla. I can't remember who else was here, but yeah, so we were like, we felt comfortable with just like a couple of us being in the shop. So we were like, well, let's buy more plants and keep doing grab bags because people seem to like that. And we didn't have any online store built out or anything. So we didn't have like all our plants online, which is why we were doing the grab bags, because that way we didn't have to list everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing grab bags and people really liked that. And so we were kind of like still making the same money that we would make if we were open. And then we thought, and then we were like, well, what else would people like? Like we could do terrarium kits because people now are stuck at home and they're looking for something to do. So they'd probably maybe enjoy, you know, making terrariums at home with by themselves or with their kids. So we started putting terrarium kits on our website, and those were selling like crazy. So that was really fun. And then as we realized, I think that was like maybe 2-3 weeks, and then we realized, okay, this is probably gonna last a little bit longer than we thought.
Yeah.
So then we started working. We work with a company called Now that does our website, and they're like really good at Shopify. And so we asked them if they could help us start getting actually our plants on and planters online, so we could just start selling stuff online. So they helped us get that all going, and so then we had an online shop, and we actually were selling all of our specific plants and planters and everything online.
Were you wanting to have an online shop sooner or later?
Not really, because we had kind of tried it at the beginning, and we were just like, I don't like, we just weren't that, it wasn't like doing that well, and also we were like brand new, so nobody knew about it at the beginning. So it wasn't really something that we were really looking into, because we felt like we were doing fine with just in-shop sales. But now we've kept it going because it
Yeah.
just did so well. People kind of got used to using the website. And so now that people know how to use it, and we use Instagram, I think most of our online sales come through Instagram because we put everything on Instagram and link to our website. So yeah, so we've kept it going, and it's been doing really well still.
It's really user friendly, so I like it. What other new practices and opportunities have you brought on from just kind of pivoting with COVID that you want to continue post-COVID?
Yeah, I mean, I think the online thing is the biggest piece that we did, online, and then delivery. We would like do a delivery if somebody asked us to, but it wasn't like a regular thing. But we're really enjoying that and being able to offer that to people. So we'll definitely continue to do delivery. We just bought a delivery van last month, so we're feeling very professional now. So yeah, we'll keep doing delivery, and we'll keep that online shop going.
Okay. And then we're wrapping up here soon. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, we talked a lot about like what does the future of our terrarium look like, because we really feel like we're kind of bursting at the seams in our current space, and we love being here, but our whole back room has basically been taken over by backstock, and that used to be our event space. And we've had a lot of people reaching out lately asking if we're doing like private events again. And we just don't like, I don't think we're quite ready to do that just COVID wise, but even when we are ready to do it, we just don't even have the space to do it anymore. And that's kind of a bummer because we really liked doing like bridal showers and company outings and stuff like that. So we're starting to look at, all right, like, should we have a second spot? Should we like move it all into a bigger spot? So that was a really fun conversation we had. Like what could a new spot for Art Terrarium look like? Or maybe even us doing an Art Terrarium and then a Desert Rose Des Moines, maybe?
Yes.
Everybody was really excited about that.
Yeah. Have a pop-up within your own business for you.
Yeah, keep an eye out. There might be
yes, I will.
Terrarium coming soon.
Question that came in is, what's the one piece of advice that you would want everyone to know, plant related or not?
Yeah, I would say, I always tell people when you're picking plants, you find a plant that fits your lifestyle. It's kind of like, what was my analogy? I don't remember, but not every plant, like this fiddly fig, it might not fit your lifestyle because it's finicky. And so like for me personally, I'm not like great at watering, so I go for those plants that don't need a lot of water. And so if you find a plant that it just doesn't fit, that's okay. It's okay. You don't have to know how to keep every single plant alive. Find the ones that fit for you and get those and help those thrive, and those are going to make you feel good. Just like any activity that you do in your life, you don't have to do everything or be good at everything. Just find the things that bring you joy and that you love, and stick with those.
I love that. I support it fully. All right, my last question for you is, how can everyone who watches this and who's watching this now support you and Art Terrarium and the new sister shop in Oregon?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Instagram is the biggest thing. So follow us on Instagram. If you see something you love that we post on Instagram, share it on your Instagram so that all your Instagram followers can see it. And same for Desert Rose. We do have an Instagram for Desert Rose. It's Desert Rose Cactus Lounge at Desert Rose Cactus Lounge, all one big long thing.
We'll include it in the follow-up email.
Cool. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just give us a follow on Instagram, and then feel free to pop in the store or check out our online shop and do some shopping with us.
Incredible. Okay. Anything else? Any other words? Any other last second thoughts?
I think that's everything. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. I want to thank you for spending your energy and spending your Friday with us. This was awesome. I love it.
If anybody ever has any questions or anything, feel free to email me. I love talking to people about businesses and growing businesses.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrea. Have a great day.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.